You know, America's been forged in the battles and the fires of war. Our freedom and the freedom of innumerable others has been secured by young men and women who answered the call of history and gave everything in the service of an idea. The idea of America. It's the greatest idea in the long history of humankind. An idea that we're all created equal in the image of Almighty God. That we're all entitled to dignity, as my father would say, and respect, decency and honor, love of neighbor. They're not empty words, but the vital beating heart of our nation. And that democracy must be defended at all costs, for democracy makes all this possible. Democracy. That's the soul of America. And I believe it's a soul worth fighting for, and so do you. A soul worth dying for. Heroes who lie in eternal peace in this beautiful place, this sacred place, they believe that too. The soul of America is animated by the perennial battle between our worst instincts, which we've seen of late, and our better angels. Between me first and we the people. Between greed and generosity, cruelty and kindness, captivity and freedom. The Americans of Lexington and Concord, of New Orleans, Gettysburg, the Argonne, Iwo Jima, Normandy, Korea and Vietnam, Afghanistan and Iraq, and thousands of places in between. These Americans weren't fighting for dictators. They were fighting for democracy. They weren't fighting to exclude or to enslave. They were fighting to build and broaden and liberate. They weren't fighting for self. They were fighting for the soul of the nation, for liberty and simple fair play. Simple fair play and decency. Today, as we remember their sacrifice, we remind ourselves of our duty to their memory, to the future they fought for. We owe the honored dead a debt we can never fully repay. We owe them our whole souls. We owe them our full best efforts to perfect the union for which they died. We owe them the work of our hands and our hearts to make real the promise of a nation founded on the proposition that all of us are created equal and deserve to be treated that way throughout our lives. Democracy is more than a form of government. It's a way of being. It's a way of seeing the world. Democracy means the rule of the people. The rule of the people. Not the rule of monarchs. Not the rule of the moneyed. Not the rule of the mighty. Literally, the rule of the people. The lives of billions, from antiquity to our own hour, have been shaped by the battle between aspirations of the many and the greed of the few, between people's right to self-determination and the self-seeking of the dictator, between dreams of democracy and appetites for autocracy, which we're seeing around the world. Our troops have fought this battle on fields around the world, but also the battle of our time. And the mission falls to each of us, each and every day. Democracy itself is in peril, here at home and around the world. What we do now, how we honor the memory of the fallen, will determine whether or not democracy will long endure. We all take it for granted. We think we learn in school, every generation has to fight for it. But look, it's the biggest question. Whether a system that prizes the individual, that bends towards liberty, that gives everybody a chance at prosperity, whether that system can and will prevail against powerful forces that wish it harm. All that we do in our common life as a nation is part of that struggle. The struggle for democracy is taking place around the world, democracy and autocracy. A struggle for decency and dignity, just simple decency. A struggle for posterity, prosperity and progress. And yes, the struggle for the soul of America itself.